Hey, Fitheads. Today we talk with Noah Galloway, a U.S. Army soldier. He's a motivational speaker. He does extreme sports. He was injured during the Iraq War, lost his left arm and left leg, and is very positive and hilarious. Like, we talk about mental health, how he came out of that. It was just a really awesome conversation that went like this in the best way possible.
Yeah, it was really fun. It's really fun to talk to him. His outlook was incredible. The mental health stuff we talked about was incredible. And we talked a lot of kettlebells. We talked a lot of gym etiquette. Ooh.
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars.
There's so much.
I know. We got chock full of gems in there. He was on the cover of some magazine. Do you remember what he said, Allie? I can't quite place it.
We'll have to watch it back.
Welcome to Total Fitheads.
Serious fitness for not so serious people.
Welcome, Noah. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Heck yeah, we're glad to chat. So give the Fitheads a little background on you. Would love to hear your origin story on how you got into fitness.
Well, fitness, if we really broke it down, I originally got into fitness when I was about 10 or 11. My older sister is about 7 years older than me, and she was, a cheerleader, all that. And she was worried about her figure, how she looked. So she was always doing fitness things. And one thing we had in our house were some VHS tapes of Tony Little.
Getting yourself a little VHS.
I know. So, yeah, and Tony Little. Look, Tony Little was this man. I've recently seen him on commercials again, but he wears his baseball cap, got his long white blonde ponytail out the back. And I would get up at 4 a.m, and I would go into the living room whenever I was asleep, and I would put that VHS tape and turn the TV on. I'd work out with Tony Little, and it got me into fitness. Like, that is not a joke. This is real.
This dude's a babe too. Wow, that hair. Oh.
I know. He's amazing. So I based my life off of.
Wait, you saw him recently? He's doing stuff now?
Yeah, he's on some kind of like insurance commercial or something.
Okay.
He's back.
Love it.
Not back. He never left. What am I saying?
I know. Yeah. Don't call to come back.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
Of course, you asked my backstory. I ended up in the military because of 9/11. Was in deployment, the invasion of Iraq in 2003, went back in 2005, got hit by a roadside bomb. I lost my arm in my leg and had other injuries. And I went through a lot of depression, and it was reverting back to that fitness that I'd always been into that helped me get me out of that depression. I wanted to become a better father, just a better person. And with that, I started running races, Tough Mudders, marathons, all these different things. And I gained attention of these different groups. And then I ended up on the cover of Men's Health magazine. They called me the ultimate guy. And it was a huge moment for me because, as someone who's a fan of Men's Health, that was the best sold issue. All these people reached out to me. I went on Ellen. After Ellen, all these shows started calling me. Survivor called me. I was like, oh my God, I love Survivor. But the backstory, I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but it's X amount of weeks, no contact back home. Even when those people that get voted off, they have to stay with the crew, no contact back home. And I was like, thanks, but no thanks. I got 3 kids here in Alabama. They're really young. And I was like, I can't do that. Another show called, turned it down. And then Dancing with the Stars called, and I turned it down as well. I was like, I've never seen your show. I've heard of it. And
I think I know the premise.
And I was like, they were like, we'll put you in a house in LA. I said, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I thought I was out. And then they were like, no, we'll send the dancer to you. You'll rehearse all week in Alabama and fly back and forth to live show. I was like, crap, I guess I'll do it. So I ended up doing 10 weeks of that and came in 3rd place.
That's so awesome. Also, like a good lesson in just like having one foot out of the door in every negotiation.
Yeah. Like,
get what you want.
You know what? That works. That has worked in a lot of negotiating because I'm not about like, do I like the attention I got during all that? Yes. I think everyone that is looking at the screen right now at themselves can say we like attention. But doesn't mean we're going to sell ourselves out for that attention. And
some
there's
people,
a lot of
not you.
Yeah. But like, I turn down things all the time. I almost dropped my book contract over the title. I was like, nah, I'll just let somebody else do it. They're like, hold on. We can change the title. And yeah, I just recently dropped a big, I'm not afraid to say it. I just dropped a big company that wanted to make a movie about me, but I felt like they were jerking me around. And I'm like, if it never gets made, it never gets made. I'm not in this for money. And it works out. It works out.
Yeah.
If you always put yourself and your family and everything first, I'm always happy with the decisions I make.
That's
most
cool.
of the time.
I
Most
mean,
of the time. I don't want to sound like I'm perfect.
Yeah.
It's super seductive though to have a production company be like, your story is it,
Yeah.
and then to be able to say like, hey, this is not working for me. I think that's really cool.
Well, yeah, they jerked me around, and I was like, I'm out. And they tried to say, no, you're not. And I said, yeah, I am. And then once the lawyer called, and they're like, crap, I guess he figured it out.
Well, any producers that are listening, he's still got a story that has not been sold.
Yeah.
What do they want the title of your book to be?
The book was going to be The Comeback. And I thought that sounded like it was a boxing movie, like The Comeback Kid.
Yeah.
And I wanted something with no excuses. Everyone on social media, as I was running races, were tagging no excuses. And they didn't want that. And then we finally settled on living with no excuses. And then I trademarked it and was like, all right, we're done.
There you go.
Solid. Yeah, I like it. That's your brand. It says it all in 2 words. Very cool. So like you were talking about that, like getting the attention on these shows. I'm interested, just as like a creator myself. Has your audience shifted? Like, what is it like having, I don't know, Dancing with the Star fangirls versus people there to like that thought you were a personal trainer?
Yeah, it did shift. So I built this audience of women covered in tattoos, men with beards, things like that.
Max, your target market.
I'm in. Ellie, get a tattoo, then we're good.
I go on Dancing with the Stars. Oh, yeah, there you go. I go on Dancing with the Stars, and 12-year-old girls and 80-year-old women love me. And I'm like, you know what? This is awesome. I'll go with it. Because when I used to run races, I had a beard. Then I shaved the beard, was on Dancing with the Stars. I'll shave it all the time. And whenever I grow it, that audience is like, oh, finally the beard's back. And then I shave it again. And some people are against it. Some people are for it.
Interesting. So
how many times a day do you tell people you are on the cover of Men's Health?
I try to is like at least 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Because
me too, like, and I wasn't.
They're like, when people were like, "Oh, you were on Dance with the Stars, weren't you?" I was like, "No, but I was on the cover of Men's Health."
Here's a copy.
Yeah, here's a copy. I've got.
That's why it's the best selling.
Yeah, I know. I bought them all.
Oh, that's such an awesome stat, though. Suck it, Don Saladino. We had someone else that was on the cover. Actually, he talked about his like prep for it, how he like cut for a really long time. Did you do anything nutty to like?
Oh my God! Well, I'll tell you what. I was competing. There were 1,300 people that applied for this, and it narrowed down to the top 3. And they flew the 3 of us to New York to do our photo shoot, and then
together.
Yeah,
oh my God, that's
later, live on the Today Show. Announced it. Well, now I get to my hotel. I've looked these guys up. I've seen their pictures, but then I check into the hotel. I go to the elevator. Elevator opens up, and this beautiful, tall black man is standing there, and he's like, "Oh, you're Noah, aren't you?" I'm like, "Son of a."
You're like, great.
I'm like, "No way." Then I go and I meet Finney. Finney's this beautiful man. Great stature, and he's like his background story. Like I can't even explain. Like it's a very powerful story he has, and I'm like, what am I doing here? And then we work out together. We have lunch. We go do the photo shoot. They take their shirts off. I got sick to my stomach. I was like, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. So then I made the cover, and yeah, it was a big deal.
That's so awesome.
So are you still in a group chat with those guys? You're just like, ha ha.
I'm like, I'll like their stuff, but I'm like, because they still both look amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever.
Funny. We got to find them and get them on. What's also funny is like their whole photo shoot is like sitting. I imagine it's just sitting in like some file somewhere in Men's Health, never to be seen.
The archives.
I mean, they were in the issue.
Yeah.
They were mentioned. No.
Yeah.
There's only one cover.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's awesome.
That's so funny. Very cool.
But I'll tell you, the issue, that Men's Health issue stressed me out more than anything I've ever done. Like Dancing with the Stars is such a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hadn't have built an audience leading up to it, like racing, fitness, and then Men's Health, it would have been too much to handle. But Men's Health was the first thing that stressed me out because, you know, my abs looked good that day, all of that. I was terrified. I'd be at the airport and some lady would be like, I want to take a picture with you and your abs. So I constantly was worried about how I looked. I know why models have eating disorders. Like, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, you got to perform, and it's your body. Ugh.
Yeah. And it fluctuates hourly. We know that.
Yeah. We talk about that all the time. We talk about that a lot actually with weight in general.
Yeah.
People are always talking about, oh, like I want to lose that 5 pounds. And I'm like, do you want to lose 5 pounds or do you just want to look better and feel better and be stronger and be able to get some good lighting and then look really good? Or, you know what I mean? Skip lunch and take a photo and then have, you know what I mean? So I think that's nice. Thank you for reiterating how important that is. Cause I think people get lost in that.
When I see, like, we've all seen the people in the gym that are on a treadmill, they got the sweatsuit on, like the plastic bag.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, unless you're a wrestler and you're cutting weight, because even wrestlers know they don't want to do it. It's going to affect them the next day. But they do it because they have to. Because other than that, you're losing all your water weight. The minute you get your water intake back up, you're in the same place.
You're preaching to somebody who did that. He's a wrestler.
Oh yeah. Well then, no. Well, I'm glad I said it in a positive way for wrestlers.
Yeah. Well, I'll say it in a negative way. It's stupid, and we did it all the time.
It is. It's a lot. Yeah. It's very strenuous on the body, and but you know, it affects you the next day.
That was literally, and that's where I come from. And I think Allie comes from it a little bit from being a girl, if I can speak for you a little bit. I come from it because I realized how ridiculous it was, how much your weight can fluctuate within 12 to 36 hours. You know, there were days when I was weighing in, and then 2 hours later, I was legitimately 6 pounds heavier than I was. Yeah, you know what I mean. And so,
that's like, before Instagram and all of that, on Facebook, I was against following fitness pages. Mm-hmm. I mean, that sounds bad.
And but now,
I mean,
now you are one.
But a lot of fitness pages, I know what it's like to manipulate your body to look a certain way. Because even me that's into fitness, I mean, if you've ever been sitting in bed in the middle of the night scrolling, then it's like someone who looks super fit. And you look at yourself like, I don't look like that right now. You know what I mean? Like, it does not motivate people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's that, and not even just like manipulating your body, but the images too. As a person with Photoshop, I know how easy it is to get rid of those 5 pounds, and it's not even water weight.
Yeah,
it's digitally edited. So you think that like there's no level of motivation? Like, at least some of my comments are like, "Hey, I got into working out because of you," and so like maybe I'm not maybe it works for some people, or like I don't know. This is like, what's your opinion on it? There's no really way to scroll Instagram and see beautiful people and use it in a positive way.
Are you asking?
Yeah, like what's your opinion on that?
No, I'm not that I don't. When I say now, I sound like I don't appreciate people that, are models that take care of their body and post things, but I feel like when it comes to fitness, too many people that, just like everything in life, we put our expectations way up here, and we all need to learn how to, all right, your goal may be here, but what's the next step to get here and here and here? And eventually because I was the kid that when I was 12, 13, I was buying fitness magazines. And before Muscle Media 2000 was a magazine that came out, and they promoted the fact that none of their models were on steroids. But before that magazine, every magazine I looked at was a guy jacked up on steroids. Oh, yeah. They're huge. And I'm thinking, I want to look like this person, And then Muscle Media comes out. I'm like, oh, we all look different. And then I started to appreciate that, look, I want to be in the best shape I can be in and see what that looks like and be happy with it. Because what I look like, what you look like, and you look like is different when we're fit, in our best shape, and healthy.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to sort of point out, not to point any fingers, but a lot of these actors who take superhero roles and then suddenly get enormous.
You know what?
In like 10, 12 months. I'm sure some of them are clean, but I think some of them probably have some help.
Of them a lot of them wouldn't. And you know what? I'm not an actor. I tried that. No one's ever casted me for anything.
Not yet.
But I mean, it's their job. And it's almost one of those gray areas where it's like, do we judge it for being their job? But then the same thing goes into sports. It's their job.
Right.
Do we criticize them for doing it? I know.
No, I like this conversation.
So it's like, what's okay, what's not? And now what's on every commercial is your testosterone low?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then so where do we draw the line?
Yeah. But I think it's important for people not to feel like sometimes people are getting big, not just by eating broccoli.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe sometimes there are other factors at play.
Yeah.
Well, and I've seen now natural bodybuilders still look like superhuman insane.
Well,
so like you can get to that unattainable level even in natty.
Well, do you know what specifics you need to be a natural bodybuilder?
No, only water.
Not be on steroids during
your thing.
Competition.
During a window.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. Well, so when you're talking about it in sports, like, yeah, that gray area where like what, and also, okay, don't we want to make a race of superhumans that can just play football all together?
And you know what? Look, that's another good argument. It's like, we want to see the best athletes we can create.
Yeah. I mean, I got this weird device in my arm. I'm trying, already augmenting my body. Yeah. How far can you take it?
One of my legs is manufactured. So, I mean, yeah, it's like we want to create the biggest and baddest. So, yeah. Well, what's wrong with them doing it?
So we should just make a not natural football league. Is what I want to see.
At NFL.
Yeah. They're hurting. The NFL is struggling now because so much is coming out with the concussions that their biggest state that they pull recruits from is Texas. And they've noticed over the last several years a huge decline. So that's why the NFL is now sponsoring a lot of flag football events.
No contact. There's a lot of stats coming out about like the long-term effects of, I mean, especially different positions, like they're just even getting not a major head trauma, but medium to minor, over and over and over every single play, lineman, defensive lineman, stuff like that. Are you? What is your favorite sport du jour? Do you?
You know what? I hate when I get this question because I sound like such a jerk, but I've never followed sports. Because I've always been a fan of Noah Galloway, and that's who I've rooted for.
Does not play well with others.
I mean, are you that you're into now? Would you say I'm a mudder first and foremost?
I mean, no, Tough Mudder. In fact, it's been a long time since I've done Tough Mudders, and now that things are opening back up, I'm about to go back to when before I got all this attention and just start running these Tough Mudders again because I love doing them. Tough Mudder's been good to me, and they've always promoted me. So I'm definitely going to do that. But I've gotten into golf last year when everything shut down,
Yeah.
I had all
out in the open.
2020 booked out, and then it just stopped. And I just sat around with my kids. I was like, there's got to be something better than this. And my uncle was like, come play golf with us. And then I did, and I've been hooked ever since.
So it was like a quarantine thing that got you into golf?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And now now that I'm on a big podcast, I'm gonna promote it. So
Yeah.
I'm hosting my first annual charity golf tournament here in Alabama, and it's each year I want to pick out a different organization I want the money to go to. And this year it's Sheepdog Impact Assistance. They do a lot with veterans and first responders. And I've been really impressed with what they do and how they work with veterans, because it's not just about, hey, let's take you on a fun trip. They're like, they call it post-traumatic growth. It's like, look, if you've had trauma in your life, let's accept that, get through that. Let's talk about it. And now let's talk about how you're going to move forward. And not a lot of groups do that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm having my first charity golf tournament. I'm excited about it. And the grand prize, if anybody is listening to this, was my Instagram account. It'll be in the bio. This is where you edit all that out.
No, we put a graphic down below in the call.
But the grand prize, the team of 4 in this 4-man scramble, gets the city of their choice backstage passes to Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Bret Michaels, Joan Jett. And Bret Michaels told me personally he will take care of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Good. And very cool. Yeah. That you're giving back and you found an organization that you really align with.
Yeah. And I'm excited because I want, and then doing this annual, I want it to just keep growing. And there's a lot of organizations that have either done good things for me in the past, or I've worked with and seen what they do. And that was one thing why I started my charitable fund, was I saw a lot of organizations that weren't doing what they claimed to do. And that's unfortunate. But when you find those that do, it's all about promoting them. And that's what I want to do, is just, each year, and then we get to play golf and have fun.
Love it. Yeah. When you're talking about the transition from like trauma to what you seem like you're flourishing now, can we dive more into that? No excuses idea, that your mantra there?
When I got injured, I went through this. I was in this denial phase for a long time, and I was a train wreck. I was drinking all the time, just eating whatever I wanted, just not taking care of myself. I would sleep all day. I was up all night, emotions all over the place. I'd sit up at night and watch these sad documentaries and just cry. It was a lot of things going on. And it was actually one day I walked into my living room and my 3 kids were sitting on the couch, and they were very young. And I realized, to my 2 boys, I'm showing them what a man is, and that's what they're going to become one day. And to my little girl, I'm showing her how a man's supposed to act, and that's what she's going to look for one day. And it scared the crap out of me. I was like, I got to make a change. And I knew with kids grow up fast, so it had to happen quick. And I, started going to therapy. I started being more open about what I was going through. I had a lot of friends and family that were very supportive. And I got back into fitness, started taking care of myself. And it just was one step at a time. And I tell people that all the time. Like, you don't have to lose an arm and a leg to go through something traumatic, emotionally, physically, whatever it is. We all go through things, and it's all about not being so prideful to say I'm struggling, because that's what prolonged my depression. For 5 years, I tried to cover it up, but people knew. They knew I was going through it, but I was trying to act like everything was fine. But I didn't improve until I said, I'm struggling. And when I say that, yeah, I lost an arm and a leg in the military, but this story is no different than a man or woman who is never deployed, who is just trying to get by day to day, a single mother, single father, whatever it is. We're only human. And that's one thing that I've taken a lot of pride in trying to really push, is fitness is one thing. I've done the fitness and I love pushing it, but mental health, we've come a long way, but we have a long way to go to really understand it. And if until a mental health checkup is as normal as just going to get your blood pressure checked, then we'll be on the right path.
I'll say. My
It's-
God.
I didn't mean to go that down.
No,
so
it's
deep.
great.
We asked.
Yeah, it's also a podcast, so talk away. It seems like there have been a lot of strides towards normalizing that kind of talk or just like being okay with it, but it's certainly not where it should be. And you're right. I love the analogy of it. Like it should be like, yeah, you get your blood pressure checked. You make sure that your brain's doing all right. Like how are you feeling? The most
complicated organ in our body.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know the brain is the only organ that named itself? Boom!
That's the episode title for sure. That's all we need is that clip. Oh, wow. Interesting.
We should end that right there. I'm just
we're done.
Close the laptop.
No, I do. Yeah, I do know what you're saying. And it also like kind of worries me. Like, again, we were talking about like presenting this like perfect thing on Instagram and like my YouTube channel. It's just like me doing things and everything going all right. And I probably don't show enough of the struggle, right?
But you know what?
Normal.
But neither do I, and every so often I've posted something, but it's a fine line of what is showing people that we're vulnerable and how much is just being a positive influence, because I think that a lot of times when you hear about people going to mental health, it's I'm bothered. Well, what's wrong with saying, hey, I feel great. I'm going to mental health so I can continue to feel this way and make sure everything's good.
Preventative mental health care. I've never heard that statement and I love it.
It should be an annual checkup.
Yeah, that's crazy because I'm like watching my blood sugar to make sure that I don't get diabetes, but like, why am I not watching my feelings to make sure that I don't get depressed?
Yes, because you know what? I mean, we all know the three of us are in fitness and we know how much your mood affects, your testosterone, your serotonin, everything is affected by that.
Yeah. Interesting. It reminds me actually, Max, of like one of the videos that you made that stood out to me the most was when you talked about like struggling with YouTube and not like wanting to do it anymore. You had a conversation with yourself. I don't know. It's really, really vivid in my mind. I remember being like relating to that and being happy that you showed the struggle, which is like something I know I lack. So that was cool.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest ones for me. And I guess I'd like to ask both of you guys. I mean, as people who present a persona, I guess part of it is showing that I have up days and down days, but another part of it is me being happy sometimes can inspire other people to be happy or lift their spirits or whatever. So that feels like a bizarre responsibility almost to be on. Do you know what I mean? So I'm happy, so I'm bringing other people out. But then also you want to be truthful, and then also you still kind of have to entertain.
Yeah.
So you're in like a weird conundrum here. Have you had people come up to you and be like, thank you for posting this, or why did you post that? Or is it like confusing to people, or how have you sort of dealt with that?
You're asking both of us. Do you want to go first, Allie?
Oh, Max knows about me. Yeah, people DM me the same thing. Like, I was so sad today, and then I watched your video where you were happy for 12 minutes, and now I am.
So what I get, and now before I'm a preface this with saying that I like these messages. I don't want what I'm about to say to make people not feel comfortable doing this, but because of my injury, don't laugh.
No, I'm laughing because let me interrupt you. The reason I'm laughing is I don't think anything you could say could make people uncomfortable. And the reason I say that is people send me pictures of their feet all the time. People send me pictures of their genitalia all the time. I'm pretty sure there's nothing I could say to make people uncomfortable enough to not send me whatever they're going to send me anyways.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't talking about those pictures like that.
But those are great too.
They're interesting. Anyway, I think because of my injury, and what I've done with it, a lot of people want to, this is where I feel bad. They'll write me these long stories of what they've been through and their struggles, and I read them, and they're very touching. And then it's like, oh my God, I can't just respond to this in a short,
like an emoji, like a thumbs up emoji.
Yeah, thumbs up. And I always am like, I need to respond to that person. And then I'm ADD, and then I'm on, and then it'll be months later. I'm like, oh crap, I didn't respond to that person. And I hate that because I get a lot of sweet.
Yeah.
Now I look like a jerk. Can we edit all this?
Honestly, it's real. I appreciate it. I go through the same thing.
Yeah. And you want to respond. You want to be able to help everybody you can.
But, okay. This is how I handle it. I don't know if it's right or not. And part of it is from advice from others or my mom. Look at it as like you've given them something by telling your story or whatever you've created online that they're appreciating. And that's them giving back to you. So the score is even. And you don't need to, you don't owe them more. So like when people mail stuff to my PO box, it's not like I try and stop myself from feeling guilty for not being able to get back to everyone and say like, thank you so much for making this thing or sending it. That it was my mom that was like, no, they're returning the favor for the video you made them, the stuff that you put online that they connected with. So I don't know if that helps you at all with your mental health, but that's kind of how I try and frame it. It's still really hard.
I know, but that's perfect. I know, just the way you said that, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about is like you want to do everything you can for everybody, and it's really tough.
Right. And your time is limited because it's so many, like so many messages that the better way to reach more people is to just keep making and doing what you are doing online instead. Yeah. But it is tough, that boundary line. Max just responds to every foot pic.
I just send my feed right back. Hey buddy, here you go.
I got some. There you go. Oh, crazy. Well, okay.
You said you had some depression. How did you pull yourself out of it? Or was it friends and family? Or was it?
We're talking about me or her?
Bench pressing.
Me? Oh yeah. It was a combination of things. It was accepting it to myself, and then coming out and being open with my family and getting help, and then getting into fitness. Fitness, I'm not saying that fitness is the end all be all to everything, but when you exercise and those endorphins, and then you feel good about yourself, because you know what? I mean, me and my girlfriend were just talking about it, how you can feel good about yourself, look in the mirror, but like, and then the next day you look exactly the same. But you're just in a bad mood. You're like, I shouldn't leave the house today.
Who is this troll?
It's true. And the difference is if I've taken pre-workout or not. Either I hate myself and everyone, or
let me ask you, know what? I got a question for y'all, because knowing I was going to do this podcast, I was super excited. One, I can't stress that enough, how exciting this is.
Take your time. Go on.
To know, I'd like you better if there wasn't a Spider-Man picture behind you. I'm not a Spider-Man fan, but
are you Dr. Octagon? Is that a good reference? Did I get it right, Matt?
Is that what that is on the other side?
Octopus. God, golly.
Octopus?
Nerd.
But to seeing a video of someone who made a wall of pop sockets and now be able to talk to her on a podcast, thank you so much, Allie. Anyway,
you are welcome.
So today I was at the gym and I wanted to ask y'all. So I saw someone doing something in an exercise that wasn't causing him harm, but it wasn't getting the workout he could be getting. Would you say something?
We've talked about this before.
Have you? Yeah. Because then what do you do when you see somebody doing something that you know is going to hurt them?
Is it going to hurt them, or are they not doing it as well as they could do it?
I mean, well, okay, let me tell you the example that I saw today, which doesn't affect the person at all. Yeah. I just wanted to be polite. Now, he was on the machine where you put your legs in, you lay back, and you sit up. What's
Sure.
it called?
Yeah, like incline
And
bench,
the,
sit-ups.
Decline. Yeah.
Decline,
It's
something.
just a
decline.
bench, right? And you
He's
wrap
holding
your
a
legs
he's
around.
holding a medicine ball.
Yeah.
Now, I have argued with people, put your hands over your head and leave them there and sit up. That's harder than putting a medicine ball in front of you because you'll push that, you'll project yourself forward with it. And he was doing that. And I kind of thought to myself, should I say something or should I not?
Allie?
I feel like that guy can't do it otherwise. He wouldn't be able to do the variation that you're saying. He's not strong enough. Yeah,
so it hurt his ego. So it hurt his ego is what it do. That's all it would do.
Okay. Is this just a real life in YouTube comment? Which also I'm sure people that are telling me I can't sing are really trying to help, that I need to work on my voice. And I appreciate them, but I already knew that. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one. For sure, if he was going to hurt himself, I think step in.
Yeah,
one thing that's happened to me. I know one thing that has happened to me is I've been doing something relatively wrong, and then someone came up right and was like, "Are you done?" And I'm like, "Almost." And I'm like,
"Oh, they let you finish?"
And then I went and I was done, and then he did the version correctly. So in this scenario, I'm the guy with the medicine ball like here. And then you would come up to me and say, "Oh, can I use that after you?" And I'd say, "Yeah, whatever." And then after you'd be doing it the correct way. And then I'd look back over my shoulder and be like, "Oh my God, was I doing that wrong the whole time?"
Well, you know,
really funny.
One time I was at the gym, and at this gym I go to, there's this second level, but it overlooks the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're down at the bottom, you can see people up there. And there was a lady doing kettlebell swings wrong, like most people do. If you're if you're listening to this podcast and you do kettlebell swings, you're probably doing it wrong.
You heard it here, folks. He's calling you out.
But you know, your shoulders don't do the work. They're just a hinge. You know what I mean? Your glutes, everything, your hip is throwing it out there. This lady is lifting it, and I could see her. And
maybe she wanted delt raises.
I know. And I went up there and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am. Can I help you and show you like it's like this?" And I was trying to tell her.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh," she was so appreciative. She said thank you. She didn't do any of them. She just left. And that was 2 years ago. I haven't seen her since. Yeah.
Send her a bill for your personal training.
She quit working out apparently.
You deterred her from ever coming back to the gym.
See, your problem was you didn't have an issue of Men's Health on you right then.
I know.
Can I show you this? Okay, now can I show you how you actually do it?
You can read this article while I show you.
To give advice. That's awesome. To be fair, I like in that scenario where if I was the one with the medicine ball and you came up and gave me the advice, I'd be like, "This is awesome," and it would be the beginning of a beautiful friendship, and we would just bro out, and I would do them better because of you, and I would appreciate
and that's what I thought of, because I'm the kind of person, if I'm doing something and someone can help me make it better, I'm all for it.
There's also times like in the gym where I'm just like, "Whoa, that's heavy," or like whatever, like want to compliment someone, and then I think like on the other side, I'm like, yeah, I would love to hear that from somebody else, but a lot of times they're like, "Please get out of my world. I don't need you interrupting."
Well, for me, and I love this, you know, I'm a local celebrity. So when I'm at the gym, and I'm very talkative.
And international. Like, you've been on
this
TV,
is me all the time. Like I just talk nonstop. And so when people come up to the gym, I'll talk to them. And I love it. Like I spend most of my time in the gym running my mouth. But one thing I don't do, I've only done it a handful of times and it felt very awkward, as a guy, even like when I was single and now I'm in a relationship. So you want to be even more careful. You don't want to get the wrong impression, to compliment women on how they're doing. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to not say something. And one time I remember there was a lady, she has triplets, and she started coming to the gym and started getting in shape. And then one day I was working out, I looked over and she was super fit. And it was super impressive. I was like, wow.
She got bulky overnight.
I started, I was like, she's on steroids. No.
Let me get some.
I was walking out of the gym, got all the way to the front door, and I was like, I got to say something. And I went back, and I probably made it even more awkward. I was like, hey, listen, I don't mean this in any kind of weird way, but I've noticed you've gotten in really good shape, and I just want to tell you that it shows. And that's all I have to say. She's like, thank you. I was like, all right, bye. And I just walked off.
Love it.
Because I didn't want it to be awkward, but it is a hard thing to do. But in fitness, you want to.
I know. I'm sure you made her day. Or she never came back like the other.
I never saw her again either. I'm running them all away.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still waiting for someone to stop me in the gym and be like, that's a great posterior chain you got there.
One time I saw somebody doing, I forget what it was, but it was, I think it must have been heavy some things. I can't remember, but she caught me looking at her while she was doing them. And she gave me this look like, what's your problem? And I was like, those are hard. And she started laughing and she dropped the weight and it was a clang, clang, clang. And it was this whole mess. And I was like, sorry, goodbye. She was like dying laughing. So, I mean, hopefully, I'm sure it's a double-edged sword. I'm sure there's some girls or some guys who are a little self-conscious about being in the gym for whatever reason. Maybe any comment will make them feel uncomfortable. But I hope in a perfect world, we all have a sense of humor about it. We're all happy to make fun of ourselves.
I think that talking about people coming in the gym, I'm sure y'all have heard the same thing. I always hear people who haven't gotten into fitness yet. See, those of us that have worked out, they think that, well, we just live at the gym, and we don't. You know what I mean?
Speak for yourself. I'm in a gym right now.
Never mind.
Allie built her gym.
Okay. Well, anyway, people think that fit people are just fit, and they don't realize, one, how hard people work to be that way, and two, how opening people in the gym are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like any other cult. Let's be real. People are in something. They love it. They want everyone else involved. I've told people, if you've never been to a gym, you don't know what you're doing, find the fittest person in there and walk up and say, I don't know what I'm doing. And that person will drop everything and be like, come with me.
Yeah.
That's such good advice. I love that so much.
That's it works in prison too, I'm sure.
You're mine now.
You know what? Put your hand in his pocket and just be quiet.
So Monday is lasagna day, and Tuesday, it's not that hard.
Yeah. But it is. But fitness is that way. And I think a lot of people that are intimidated by it need to realize that it's not a private establishment. Mm-hmm. We welcome everybody.
Yeah. It's making me want to go back to a public gym. Screw this one that I built for myself.
I don't know how you do it. I was on the cover of Men's Health, and
go on.
But I cannot work out at home. Mm. The only argument I have against P90X, I look for it. I look to the discrepancy. No, P90X is amazing, but you do it at home. And too many people will get home, they sit on the couch, and they're like, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tony Little agrees with you.
I know. So. Tony Little would say, put the VHS tape in and let's get to work.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself an extrovert or introvert?
Oh, I'm a very shy person.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm also a liar.
I think that's a part of it, is that like you're extroverted and you get energy from other people, and so maybe.
Oh, I know. That's why I strut around. I've been told I strut around the gym, like I'm running
told
for
you
office.
That yourself in the mirror as your psychic.
Yes, I'm like, hey, keep strutting, brother.
Nice strut, bud.
Well, okay.
So what are your gym workouts looking like today?
So I like to do, and there's a couple of variations I like to do, and with the on and off schedule that I have, I try to do push pull legs. Mm-hmm. So one day I'll do push, another day I do pull, another day I do legs. If there's a gap in between, as long as I stay in rhythm, and I'll try to do 2 workouts, 101 reps of whatever it is, and then keep track of and keep building the weight up.
2 workouts a day?
No. Like two movements.
Okay.
Like if I'm doing chest, shoulder, you know, I'll try to do 2 movements that are a compound movement, and I do 101 reps.
Broken up into different sets.
Yeah, So yeah, and it's really fun because like even like my 13-year-old, we worked out together, and we didn't have to adjust the weight much because it was like, okay, you may be doing it in a couple of reps a set. I'm doing it in a lot more, and it's really fun to do with people that are different levels because you can work out together.
101, cool. The extra
well,
one.
So the 100 made sense, but I was in the military in the 101st Freeman Eagles, so I do that 101. Make it a little nerdy.
That's cool. Yeah, and the when you look at like the definition of rhabdo, I think they mention 100 reps. So like,
but you know, I'll tell you what. Like I'm glad you said. Like that's why. Like I've never put. No, I did an event one time and put my body in rhabdo, but exercising, I've never done that.
Wait, an event? The event like made you?
I did. It was 26.2 miles in the deserts of White Sands, New Mexico. 55 pounds on my back and a gas mask. And by mile 10, I was like, I'm not gonna make it. Like in my head, I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. Then by mile 15, I was like, when I throw up, do I throw up in my mask or do I break seal? And then at mile 18, I was like, hey, you know what? When I pass out, I won't scratch my face up because I got this mask on.
That's
like
the journey.
I just kept going. And then we finished, and all these people it was a group of veterans with us. It's this group, Operation Enduring Warrior. And we all take pictures with people. And then we get to the car and I take my leg off. And so you have this carbon fiber socket that your stump goes into. Mm-hmm. I start throwing up in it. I'm like, we got to do something. Well, there's paramedics. They come over and they're like, you know, asking me questions. I'm like, I just need an IV. I need an IV. I know I'm dehydrated. Well, then they're like, we're going to hook this EKG up. Then a guy sits down in the seat next to me asking about my family history. Then he's like, we're going to cut your shirt off and run another EKG. I'm like, okay. So they do it again. Then they're like, look, we can't make you go to the hospital because you're an adult, but the doctor at the hospital thinks you should come in. I'm like, well, let's go. So we get in the ambulance and the paramedic is showing me the EKG thing. And he's like, this right here says you're having a heart attack. I'm like, oh, okay. So then we get to the hospital. I'm there for hours. And then at like 2 a.m., the doctor comes in and she says that my entire body was shutting down. It was overexerted. It was done. And I looked at her and said, that's great because I finished. And I was laughing. And she was like, this isn't funny. You could have died. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like,
that's insane. At mile 10, you actually weren't going to make it. And then
I knew at mile 10. I just kept walking.
Wow. Casual. I would bring that up more than Men's Health, honestly. What a story. That is a journey.
I mean, I've done stupid things my entire, like even my first marathon I ran, I didn't train for it. 3 weeks before the marathon, I was like, oh, I better start running. Now I was working out, but I wasn't running. I
better get some shoes.
I ran 3 miles on a treadmill. And then the weekend before the marathon, I ran 5 miles on the treadmill and was like, oh, well, I either got it or I don't. I did it in 4 hours. I was broken. After that.
Oh,
that's so good. That's a great time. I trained for it.
Because I'm an idiot. That's all it is. That's the only explanation. Have you ever heard of the Spartan death race?
Oh, no.
It's,
I've heard of it. So the death race, they try to break you mentally and physically. Well, I got offered to go do it. I was like, okay. Well, I show up with a backpack. And they're like, that's all you brought? I was like, yep. And you survive off everything you have for the days. This is day and night. They're on you day and night. And I didn't think I'd last. I was going to just see how far I could go. And 100 people showed up. I was the only one with a disability. I'm missing 2 of my limbs. Everyone else physically fit. Great. 80 of them quit. 20 of us finished. Wow. 58 hours later, they told us it was done.
What What are they doing to you mentally? Just telling you you're not good looking?
You'll never be on the cover of Men's Health.
I'm out.
That's crazy. Ah.
Is that the toughest one?
No, I think that when I end up in the hospital, that was probably the toughest one.
Was that even a race, or did you just get out of the car and you're like, I can first jog it?
Yeah, I can do this. No, it's the Bataan Memorial Death March in White Sands, New Mexico. The Bataan Death March was, oh crap, I think it was, I'm gonna feel bad, I don't know this, but maybe like World War II, a whole bunch of Americans and Allied forces were captured and forced to walk way more than that. And some of the survivors still come out and they'll do the half. They're in their 90s. Yeah.
Crazy. Oh, what's with all those events named death? Okay.
But now I don't do those things.
Being more reasonable. Did I also read that you've done CrossFit? Because I obviously want to bring up CrossFit in every conversation.
So I did it years ago. I'm not gonna say I'm not anti-CrossFit, but I'm also not 100% CrossFit. Where I stand is I tell people, what are your goals? If your goals aren't part of being in the CrossFit, strongman or whatever they call it, don't do that. You know what I mean? If you want to look like, if you're a female, you want to look like you're on the cover of Shape magazine, that's completely different. If you want to be a bodybuilder, if you want to be a marathon runner, it all depends on what you want to do. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not against CrossFit. Mm-hmm. I did it for a little while, but I got out. What I got from CrossFit and then obsessed over was kettlebells. That's why I like when I see people using kettlebells, even if I'm in a CrossFit gym, I'm like, oh, I just cringe. So I'm like, oh, it's so wrong. But everything I was doing, I'm down to one active shoulder and one active knee.
Yeah.
And I have to be careful about what I'm doing. Like I'm keeping my fitness level up. I'm always challenging myself, but doing high reps of those Olympic movements. I do like doing high reps of stuff, but not the Olympic movements. The compound movement will get I've gotten personally just the same benefit.
Yeah. It sounds like you care more about longevity, and CrossFit doesn't necessarily take that into account.
It doesn't. I want to be an attractive 78-year-old man that can get around.
Get on Men's Health for the second time at 70.
Yes. Yes.
It'd be awesome.
Adult Men's Health.
Yeah.
Senior Men's Health.
Yeah. We've had plenty of people on that are like CrossFit naysayers, and no one's really framed it like you have, where it's like, well, you're not doing this for the long term than thinking about keeping your shoulder working. It's more about, yeah. And I mean,
if I weren't injured, I think I'd have became a big CrossFitter. Mm-hmm. But because I was injured, then I had to start thinking about what was going on and because like I just recently had carpal tunnel surgery. They want to do rotator cuff surgery and I've been putting it off. So even my workouts, I don't do anything overhead because it puts so much stress on my rotator cuff. So the way I look at it is you just have to decide what's important to you. And there's nothing wrong with doing CrossFit. If it's something you want to do, especially if they want to compete on a CrossFit level, well, you have to, train like you fight. That's what we'd say in the military. You train like you fight. So whatever your goal is, that's where to determine what you should be looking into.
Well, I also think that space really fosters what you're talking about at the gym, where it's like, we want more people in the cult, and it is really supportive. And so that there's a seductive side to that where it's not just going to a big box gym and hoping somebody wants to talk to you. Like we go to a CrossFit gym, everybody knows everyone. And like, you're all going to the same church every Sunday kind of thing.
Yeah, it is, and I think that CrossFit does fall into that church mentality very well. You know what I mean? Is a close knit community and everyone motivates each other. And when you go to a regular gym, someone may not be like, hey, one more rep.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'd be like, why are you watching me?
Unless it's you.
Yeah. Oh, that was myself talking to me.
I think this year, we talk about this a lot. Like everybody decided to work out at home this year. I know I personally had to figure out a lot of weird new versions of old exercises. So like, I want to do, I don't have heavy weights. I can't do an air squat, then it depends on like a lunge squat or like a pistol squat or something like that. What type of stuff have you come up with? I mean, you must be in the most unique workout environment of anyone you know.
That's one thing, like when you said, like when someone says to me, body weight exercises don't challenge me. I'm like, okay, well, let's see how many one-arm push-ups you can do and how many pistols you can do. Because, I mean, when that's all you have, and that's the thing is, like, if you have to work out at home, yeah, to be able to have the equipment is amazing. You know what I mean? I love lifting weights. I would prefer that over body weight stuff any day. But if that's the only option you have, I mean, if you're good at push-ups, well, then you can manipulate it to make it better. You know what I mean? Put your feet on the bed. And then if that's not hard enough, do that with one arm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are so many ways to manipulate it. And then, yeah, like there's so much you can do, but like I can't say that it's that easy because I said earlier, I don't like to work out at home. I feel like if nobody's watching me, is it even happening?
Is there not a giant mirror I can look into?
Of course, I'm joking. I don't want somebody's going to see this podcast and be like, that Noah is a jerk. I'm joking.
He's the third biggest jerk on the podcast.
But I do like going to the gym and talking to people. Like I do Orange Theory and I work out at the YMCA. And you know what? The time of the day I go to the YMCA, yeah, most of my friends are in their 80s. And we like that. You know what I mean? We talk about whatever they want to talk about. And I love it. I love it. That's why I love going to the gym.
I've never done Orange Theory. I feel like I would get really competitive. They show your heart rate, right?
It does. So, You know what? I wish they paid me. Look,
hit them up.
Orange Theory. I've met the founder. Orange Theory is a heart rate base. I've read about it years ago when it was just in Florida. When I read about it, I was like, this is a great concept. But you have your heart rate monitor and there's a board up there and you see your name and it changes colors when you get to a certain heart rate. Now, your 80-year-old grandma could be on the treadmill next to an all-star athlete. He's at a dead sprint and she's walking with a slight incline. But you know what? Both their heart rates are reaching what they need to reach.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. It's all about, that progression of doing it. And yeah, like Orange Theory is one of those groups that I wish paid me because I can't say enough good things about it. I think it's a great concept. There's a lot of competitors out there that are trying to compete, and I actually know some of the owners of those national companies, but Orange Theory's just got the niche.
Yeah. It seems, like it would be super fun. Like you gamify the workout. Before we started filming, we were talking about how you never played video games. And I did want to talk about that. Like, I imagine you gamified your workouts, your life, your heart rate. And so that's probably why you don't even want to play the fake virtual games.
Well, yeah, you know what? That's like when I remember being in Iraq in 2003, 2004. And once we took over a building, we hired Iraqis to come in, set a satellite up, put some computers in a room, and we paid them by the minute. And guys were playing like what is now considered Call of Duty, but in 2003. And I'm like, we do
right
this.
Here.
Like, we could be shot at right now.
That's ridiculous.
But that's what. Well, but you know what?
So
if you
funny.
love something, you love it. And yeah, that's all they want to think about. I'm like, we're doing the real thing right outside.
Now I want to program bodybuilding the game where you're just like standing in a gym and then I hit A and I do a curl and I hit B and it brings it back down again.
And you can see it getting bigger.
Yeah.
Instant gratification.
You can sit on the couch and play bodybuilding the game. Yeah. Dang.
There was a boxing game like that. I remember I went over to my buddy's house in high school and he was playing, and you
Mike
have
Tyson
your boxer and you do whatever, but he was training and he was pushing and the guy was doing push-ups.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I think there was.
You remember the boxing game?
I don't know about the boxing game, but I think there was a football game that was like that too. You could put your players through this training course.
Yeah. Imagine if you had like your own body or that you could do that with, or
right.
Yeah. That's no fun.
Is there a recovery level too, where you like have to hit buttons to make it sleep. Like relax, meditate.
Meditate, yeah.
Harder.
Harder. All right, Max, you want to ask him the one question?
We ask we ask all of our guests one question. How do you incorporate alcohol into your training?
Do you?
I mean, I don't drink when I'm training.
Okay, well, some of us do.
No, I like to drink. I try to, when I'm on a healthy kick, like right now, like I'm eating more vegetables than I've ever eaten. So when it comes to drinks, I try to drink things that, you know, like I'll take a straight tequila with some natural lime juice over a margarita.
It's very CrossFit. Yes.
Very CrossFit.
Paleo.
And then there's a local beer in town that has 0 sugar and 0 carbs, and so it's actually pretty good. I try to hide it at the bottom of the coolers when I show up places, so nobody sees that drinking Beachbody.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
I think so.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gravitated towards like healthier alcohols lately too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we deal with in everyday life is sugar. And I think that the more of that you cut out, the better you are. I
totally agree. That's like whenever someone's entry level, they're like, what do I do to start working out? I'm like, no, stop eating sugar. Yeah. And it's like, if you change your diet when people that drink sodas, that's insane to me. That's 20 pounds right there. So I can't believe sodas exist, let alone people consume them. Yeah. It's crazy.
Those graphics where they show in like physical sugar next to the cup of liquid or whatever, and they're like, all this goes into that. Yeah. I feel like that's the one that always blows my mind.
Well, I remember when I read that sativa, that's the one to make it takes less sativa to get the addiction reaction from your body. Oh, stevia. Yeah. Stevia. Sativa's weed. It's fine. Oh, we can talk about that too. Okay. Well, anyway, the other one, it takes more sugar to get addicted. So it's like, what's the better outcome? I know. I hate fake sweetness too. I also heard that they decrease your insulin sensitivity. So you don't even know that's happening. And you'll end up having crappier blood sugar, even though there's no sugar added to what you're eating. Yeah. Yeah. So you're not like tasting sweet at all. Like whatever you're eating is no. I like to. So I've gotten better. I went a little off the rails for a little while during the pandemic. I mean, that's natural. But then my girlfriend eats really healthy, so I just do I eat whatever she tells me to eat. And so I've been eating a lot of vegetables, and she's introduced me to kombucha. Well, now I wasn't following the instructions. These big bottles, you're only supposed to take a little bit at a time. I'm drinking the bottle in one sitting. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Really? There's like a dosage of kombucha? Yeah, because there's a lot of sugar in it. Oh, okay. So I've been better about just a swig here and there. Okay. And that's how I crave I love salt and vinegar chips. Like I can sit and eat an entire bag of it. But for the past month, I've had the same bag in the cabinet, and I'll open it and just take a couple of chips just to make my palate happy and put it away. We are different animals, sir. It's all or nothing for me. That's how I am. So I'm really proud of myself. Really proud of myself.
Congratulations. That's incredible. That's incredible. I have a bag of chips. It's gone. I mean, it's
to the beat of the music, by the way. Gone. He will eat chips on the snare of every
I did
song.
read that chips, the number one food connected to being unhealthy and obese or whatever was chips, obviously, which is a shame.
I've also read that they're engineered to not be satisfying. They actively make it so that you want more and will never be full, and in fact need more of them the more you eat. That was insane when I learned that. Yeah, all the salt alone just dehydrates you, and what do you need?
Well, the
More
body
chips.
thinks it needs more sodium to hold in the water, but there's no water coming in.
Addictive. Ah. All right. Well,
If only we'd have thought of it first.
he's selling Lays, not curls.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I
Heck
appreciate both of y'all. Thank you so much.
And where can the Fitheads go find you online?
Well, I'm on Instagram, Noah Galloway Athlete, and Facebook. All of them are certified, and Twitter is Noah_Galloway.
Awesome. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Both y'all, Max, Ali, it means so much. I got super excited when I got the message from you. I thought it was spam at first. I was like, this isn't the real Ali.
There were no feet pics. Come on.
But no, I've been excited about this, and thank you so much, both of y'all.
Yeah, super awesome.
We
Inspiring
appreciate
to
it.
hear from you. And thank you to the Fitheads. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review. It helps us out a whole lot.